Exposed. How I revealed my parents' shocking betrayal and transformed my life forever. Lily Johnson had always believed her family exemplified the American dream. Every afternoon, after juggling high school classes and looking after her rambunctious little brother Denny, she poured her heart into helping at her parents' diner, the Johnson House. The smell of sizzling bacon mingled with the sweet aroma of freshly baked cherry pie, creating a warm embrace that welcomed regulars and newcomers alike. The diner was more than just a business, it pulsed with the laughter of families and the stories of a small Midwestern town. But that familiar comfort shattered unexpectedly. One rainy Sunday, while rummaging through a forgotten corner of the diner, she stumbled across a stash of crinkled bills hidden tightly behind a dusty stack of old menus. Instead of the cash drawer that had always felt like an extension of her family, she uncovered a pile of documents. Heart racing, she began to read the words blurred as her vision clouded with disbelief. Bills, statements, and figures poured out like a torrent, revealing that her parents had been siphoning money from the diner's earnings to cover mounting debts. This wasn't just betrayal, it felt like an earth-shattering shock wave through her very foundation. At that moment, dread washed over her like a cold wave crashing on a rocky shore. Her gut twisted, and tears brimmed in her eyes. Her parents, people she trusted with her heart, had betrayed everything they stood for. The weight of betrayal mixed with a spiraling confusion, leaving her in an emotional storm she couldn't navigate. Should she confront them, risking everything she knew and loved? Or should she remain silent, allowing their actions to fester in secrecy? Before she could gather her thoughts, a flicker of hope caught her eye. News buzzed through the diner about a local investor eager to save struggling businesses. This was an opportunity to transform her family's legacy if only they confessed their misdeeds. But could Lily muster the courage to face her parents? They appeared trapped in a web of deception, lost in a world of shame. Before we continue, she thought, her heart racing, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Lily finally took a breath, determined to unite the community instead of letting shame divide them. She could see the glimmer of hope in her plan, the fundraiser that would not only save the Johnson house but would bring everyone together. As Lily crafted her vision, the pressure built around her. People began to sense an undercurrent of tension, and the whispers about her family's struggles and secrets started to swirl through the town like autumn leaves caught in an unforgiving wind. The night of the fundraiser loomed closer, and doubt clawed at her. Facing her parents felt like balancing on a knife's edge. Their faces had been etched with shame, but she also saw despair in their eyes, the fear of losing everything they had built. With the community rallying behind her, would revealing the truth lead to redemption or destroy everything they held dear? Just as she prepared to take the stage, hand trembling on the microphone, a sudden cry for help rang out from the diner, freezing her in place. Would this desperate moment change the course of her family's future? Lily stood at a crossroads, filled with heartache and hope, ready to write the next chapter of their lives. Lily's heart dropped, her hand going numb against the cool metal of the microphone as the frantic cries echoed through the diner. Denny's laughter had been replaced by panic, and instinct kicked in, urging her to move. She rushed off the stage, her eyes scanning the crowd for her brother's familiar face. Finally, she spotted him. He stood by the kitchen doors, face pale, fingers tugging at his shirt. "Lily! There's a fire!" he shouted, his voice trembling. The warm, inviting smells of the diner twisted into an acrid burning scent, slicing through the air. Fear gripped her, and without a moment's hesitation, she pushed through the sea of people gathered to support their family. "Get out!" Lily yelled as she ran toward the kitchen. Her heart raced, louder than the surrounding chaos. In the kitchen, smoke poured from the oven, thick and dark, curling like a malevolent serpent. Panic set in as she saw flames licking the edges of the stove, consuming the old grease that had built up over years. Her mind swirled, awash with nightmares of losing the Johnson house along with everything her family had fought to build. Denny, go outside. Now. She commanded, knowing her little brother would obey her. She turned to the others still hovering in the diner, paralyzed by shock. Everyone out. Help each other. As the crowd began to stir, she grabbed a nearby fire extinguisher, her hands shaking as she aimed it toward the flames. She squeezed and a white cloud exploded, smothering the fire like a sudden blizzard. A swirl of smoke enveloped her, and she coughed, the acrid air burning her lungs. After what felt like an eternity, the flames dimmed, leaving smoldering remnants where hope had once dwelled. A collective sigh of relief washed through the diner, the crowd emerging from their fearful trance. But Lily felt hollow. The damage lingered, lingering like the burnt smell that would cling to the diner for days. Are you okay? Denny raced over, breaths coming in rapid bursts. He examined her for injuries, his eyes wide with concern. Yeah, I'm fine, she replied, trying to sound calm, but her heart was still hammering in her chest. The crowd began to gather, murmurs swirling around them. What happened? Someone asked, shifting nervously on their feet. The whole community had turned up, eager to help, and now they were left in a state of confusion. It was just a small fire. We've got it under control. Lily shouted, though inside she knew that everything felt off. Was this chaos a sign, a nudge to confront her parents? But then she thought of the fundraiser. Would the community still be there for them now? Would they choose to stand behind her family after tonight's shocking revelation? As she glanced over to where her parents stood, they were huddled together, their faces pale but infused with a new determination. In that moment of uncertainty, a small flicker of hope ignited within her. Maybe they could still turn this around. Perhaps the fire had burned away more than just the greasy remnants of a meal, it might have burned away the secrets. Maybe it's time for all of us to be honest, she whispered to herself, standing firm. Little did she know, this would be the turning point that her family so desperately needed. Just then, someone tapped her on the shoulder. It was Mr. Jameson, the local investor everyone had been buzzing about. The worry etched on his face morphed into something deeper, and Lily sensed the weight of many possibilities resting on this moment. Would he still want to help? Lily, he began, his voice steady but cautious. We need to talk about what just happened and the future of the Johnson house. Her chest tightened with apprehension. Maybe this was the moment that would seal their fate. Could she find the strength to face both her history and her family's future? Lily felt a rush of emotions swirling inside her as Mr. Jameson's serious gaze locked onto hers. Okay, she said, trying to steady her voice, fighting the tremor rising in her chest. The urgency of the moment weighed heavily on her. She took a deep breath, willing herself to remain composed. Let us step outside, he suggested, motioning toward the diner's door, still ajar, smoke curling into the crisp night air. Lily followed, her heart racing. Denny hovered a few steps behind, his small face mirroring her uncertainty. Once outside, the cool air was a breath of relief compared to the stifling atmosphere inside. The buzzing of the crowd mingled with the distant blare of sirens, creating a strange backdrop to their conversation. She looked around at familiar faces watching closely, hoping everyone understood the magnitude of what had just happened. Lily, Mr. Jameson began again, and she noticed a sigh escaping him, as if the words he was about to say were stuck somewhere near his heart. Your parents have always talked about wanting to bring the diner back to life. I think we can do something significant together, but his voice trailed off. But what? She pressed, a knot forming in her stomach that he hesitated, glancing back toward the diner. There are some issues I need to address first. Your family's financial situation hasn't improved, and with this fire don't sugarcoat it, Lily interjected, her voice tougher than she felt. We've lost so much over the years, but I refuse to lose this place. We've fought for it. My parents deserve more than this. Exactly, he replied, an eyebrow raised. And yet, for me to help, we'll need to be upfront. Do you know anything about their past debts? Secrets? Secrets? The word felt foreign and heavy, and it struck her in a way that made her stomach churn. She had always sensed something wasn't right, yet her parents had painted their lives in such vivid colors that she hadn't questioned much. But this night this disaster seemed to tear the curtain away. Your parents have made some decisions without talking to you, he continued gently. Decisions that could affect everything you hold dear. It's time to address them, Lily. She took a step back, her eyes wide. What are you saying? I know you love them. You want to protect them, but you have to protect this place too. If we keep dancing around the truth, we might lose the Johnson house altogether and with it, the legacy they built. Lily felt a cold wave of reality crash over her. She had spent so long supporting her parents, looking out for Denny, trying to hold everything together. What if she was wrong for doing so? What if honesty meant breaking the very foundation of the family she loved? Maybe it's time I found out, she whispered, her voice trembling with both fear and determination. The fire had caught more than grease, it had ignited buried truths she could no longer ignore. Good, Mr. Jameson nodded, his expression supportive. You deserve to know what's really happening. Those truths might just be the key to transforming not only the diner but your family's future. Lily stared at him, grappling with the weight of his words. Her decision felt monumental, a shift that could rock her entire world. Just then, Denny's small voice broke through her thoughts. Lily, what are we going to do? She knelt to meet his worried eyes. I don't know yet, buddy, but I promise we'll figure it out together. As she stood back up, resolve coursed through her veins. Let us do this. A sense of purpose filled her, but it was laced with uncertainty. Would confronting these buried truths bring about healing, or would it tear her family apart? Before she could dwell on it, the sound of laughter erupted from the diner's back door, and Lily turned to see a few brave souls trying to lighten the mood despite the chaos. In the midst of it, an unsettling unease mixed with the coffee and burnt offering of their history lingered in the air. Although she couldn't shake the worry, she felt the electric pulse of change. Tomorrow would be a different battleground. The Way Bridge between love and honesty had never felt heavier, and she wondered if she had the courage to walk that line. Tomorrow, it begins, she murmured, glancing over her shoulder at the diner. But what will it cost us? Just then, a piercing shout erupted from the crowd, sending her heart racing again. Lily! Denny! Come quick! You need to see this. With their worlds suddenly in turmoil again, she felt a chill trace her spine. What had she missed? What would she find waiting in the shards of their shattered night? Lily's heart raced as she took a step towards the crowd, uncertainty gripping her. Denny grabbed her hand tightly, his little fingers wrapping around her own, drawing strength from her in a moment that felt precariously heavy. What do they mean? He asked, his eyes wide. I don't know, but we need to find out, she replied, trying to sound braver than she felt. The laughter from the diner had died down, replaced by whispers that carried through the night air like a shifting breeze. As they made their way closer, she caught glimpses of familiar faces, friends, neighbors, and even the town's mayor, looking unusually serious. What's happening? Why does everyone look so worried? Lily questioned, more to herself than anyone else. When they reached the center of the commotion, a few teenagers were standing by a pile of charred debris. They had turned over a singed piece of wood, revealing something glimmering underneath. Curiosity mixed with dread as she shuffled forward, her heart thumping loudly in her chest. Lily, come see. One of the girls called, taking a deep breath, she leaned in. Underneath the charred remains lay a small metal box, scorched at the edges but still intact. Mr. Jameson stood nearby, his expression grave. The world around fell silent, everyone's breath collectively held in anticipation. Without hesitating, a boy with tousled hair crouched down and opened the box, revealing old, brittle papers inside documents, by the looks of it. These were here the whole time. They must have been hidden in the back wall. I can't believe it survived the fire. He exclaimed. Lily stepped back, an eerie feeling crawling up her spine. What are those? She breathed. Looks like financial records, Mr. Jameson replied, his tone somber. Important ones, too. He glanced at Lily, and she could see the unease in his eyes. This might be connected to your family's debts. The weight of his words hit her hard. Doubts began to swirl in her mind. Was this what he had meant about secrets? Had her parents been hiding things from her all along? Tension hung in the air, thick enough to slice through with a knife. Should we take a look? Someone suggested, uncertainty creeping in. Lily felt a wave of nausea wash over her. Would examining these documents just open old wounds? She wished she could retreat into the safety of ignorance, but she knew better. In the depth of her gut, she felt the uncomfortable pull of the truth telling her that they had to face this. Gathering her courage, she took a step forward again. Yes. Let us see what's in there. With those words, she felt a shift in urgency weaving into her decision. The tension amplified around her as the box was lifted, revealing its contents to everyone gathered. Murmurs spread like wildfire. She steeled herself, gripping Denny's hand tighter. As Mr. Jameson carefully picked out one of the frayed sheets, a gasp erupted from the crowd. The words were clear, stark against the faded paper. This can't be right, he muttered. Lily's heart sank. What does it say? She demanded, though deep down, she feared the answer. It's a loan agreement, he began, unsure. But there's more. They borrowed a large sum and this it's signed by your parents along with shady terms. I can't. Even the world blurred around her as the enormity of what was being unearthed sank in. The laughter that once filled the diner now felt like a distant memory, replaced by the chilling reality of her parents' choices. What if they were hiding worse? What if their dreams weren't as pure as she had believed? With her heart pounding, she stared at the documents, feeling the weight of her family's legacy crashing down around her. Would this revelation break them, or would it shine light on a path they'd been too afraid to face? As the crowd began to buzz with speculation, Lily felt dread and determination clash inside her. This was just the beginning of a battle for truth. She had to unravel what lay beneath the surface, and she needed to be the one to do it. Tomorrow, we dig deeper, she declared, her voice gaining strength. We find out everything. But as she met Mr. Jameson's steady gaze, something unexpectedly shifted in his expression, a glimmer of fear mixed with hope. What was he hiding? What role did he play in all of this? Lily felt the weight anew. The repercussions were endless, and the morning would demand everything of her. What dark truth waited to be uncovered, and could she handle it? With that thought echoing in her mind, she braced herself for the storm to come. The morning light streamed through the window, the dawn of a new day bringing with it a mix of anticipation and dread. Lily sat at the kitchen table, Denny doodling absent-mindedly beside her, blissfully unaware of the storm swirling in his sister's mind. The weight of last night's discoveries pressed down on her like a heavy blanket. She glanced at the documents, still strewn across the table, as if they might spring to life and offer explanations for everything. The terms of the loan felt like a betrayal. Her parents had always painted a picture of a happy family, a home filled with laughter and warmth, but now that image was fraying at the edges. Lily, can we go to the park today? Denny asked, snapping her back to the moment. His small face broke into a hopeful smile, but she could feel her heart wobbling with uncertainty. Maybe later, okay? I have something important to take care of first, she replied, forcing a smile in return. How could she explain to him the weight of what lay ahead? Once Denny dashed outside, she took a deep breath and began to sift through the papers again. Each page felt more oppressive than the last. They revealed debts, amounts that spiraled into the thousands, money tied to unsavory conditions. The thought of her parents signing those documents made her stomach churn. Everything felt so backward. They'd always taught her that honesty was paramount, that secrets could fester like wounds left untreated. And yet, here they were, bound in a web of deceit that threatened to pull them all down. Just as she was about to stand up, the door creaked open, and her mother walked in. The effort to maintain a cheerful facade weighed heavily on her, her eyes carrying shadows that spoke of sleepless nights. "Good morning, honey. What are you working on?" she asked, eyes flickering to the scattered papers. Lily's heart raced. Should she ask now or wait? The truth itched beneath the surface, begging to be let out, but the fear of what that could mean kept her silent. "Just some stuff for school," she mumbled, avoiding eye contact. Her mother nodded, but Lily could sense a shift in the air, a tension that hung between them like a thick fog. It felt wrong to be deceptive, but how could she confront her with those documents? The question gnawed at her. How could she bring the truth into the light without tearing everything apart? Lily, her mother said softly, breaking through the chaos in her mind. You know you can tell me anything, right? Those words hung there, slicing through the tension. They were both lying, dancing around the truth. I know, she replied, finally meeting her mother's gaze. But before she could finish, the door swung open again, and Mr. Jameson stepped in. I thought I'd find you here, Lily, he said, his tone brisk. We need to talk about those documents. Lily's stomach dropped. Now? She pressed, her heart racing again as she recalled the fear she'd seen in his eyes. Yes, now. It's important. There's something you don't know about your family's situation, about why things happened the way they did. His expression was serious, too serious for comfort. Her mother's face paled. What do you mean? What do you know? I need you both to sit down. This is better discussed openly, he insisted, glancing around the room as if weighing the atmosphere. The words fell into silence. Lily felt trapped between her mother's concern and Mr. Jameson's urgency. What unfolding dialogue could possibly justify the secrets hidden all these years? Denny rushed back in, snatching a cookie from the table. What's happening? He asked, innocent curiosity in his eyes. This is a grown-up conversation, Bud, Lily said gently, wishing she could shield him from the storm about to break. The three of them settled at the table, the air thick with unspoken truths. Mr. Jameson looked at Lily, then at her mother, before finally laying out all the cards on the table. Your parents, they were involved in something bigger than you realize. And it's time you both learned the truth, he said, his voice steady yet tinged with caution. Lily's heart pounded as she braced herself. What shocking revelations lay ahead? She caught her mother's anxious glance, the tightening of her jaw, and realized they were both terrified of what would come next. With that, the walls they built began to fracture, and everything they knew was about to change. Would they be ready for the storm of honesty that would follow? But one thing was certain. The truth had a way of unfolding in the most unexpected ways, and Lily was ready to face whatever lay ahead. What would she uncover next, and at what price? Lily's eyes darted between her mother and Mr. Jameson, her heart pounding like a drum that echoed in her ears. Tension fluttered around them, vibrant and electric. What do you mean? She finally managed to ask, her voice barely above a whisper. Mr. Jameson took a deep breath, gripping the edge of the table as he spoke. There were circumstances outside your family's control, decisions that had to be made. Your parents, they've been in over their heads for a long time. Her mother clenched her jaw, fighting to hold back tears. All this debt, it's just a consequence of bad decisions. We thought we could manage it. The desperation in her voice struck a chord within Lily. It was hard to reconcile the image of her mother as a pillar of strength with the person she saw now, vulnerable and shaken. Bad decisions? Lily repeated, anger bubbling just below the surface. Her fingers tightened around the edge of the table. This isn't just bad decisions. This is our life. Lily, please, her mother pleaded, but Mr. Jameson continued. The loans were taken out under pressure, and your parents believed they were protecting you, creating a future that didn't involve financial ruin. But it spiraled. Now, they're ducking not just creditors, but also some very serious people. The words crashed against her, leaving her breathless. Serious people? What kind of serious people? Mr. Jameson hesitated for a moment, his gaze flickering to the door as if he feared overhearing ears. People who don't take lightly to unpaid debts. People who can be dangerous. As the words settled, dread wove through Lily's stomach. So, what? We just let this whole thing happen? The look on her mother's face was a mix of sorrow and resignation. No, we fight back. We'll figure something out together. A burst of resolve struck Lily, but it battled with the chaos in her mind. Part of her wanted to scream, to let all the pain and betrayal spill out. Yet there was also a flicker of hope. If they could confront this storm together, maybe they could find a way through. So what's the plan? Are we just going to ignore everything? Mr. Jameson leaned in. No. But we have to act carefully, step by step. We'll start with having an open discussion with your parents about the mistakes and missteps. Only then can we find a path to make amends. Denny, watching from the side, didn't he grasp the weight of it all? Can we go to the park now? He asked, his innocence breaking through the heaviness surrounding them. Lily's heart ached for him. How could they maintain normalcy in such a broken world? Not yet, Denny. We have to get through this first. As she looked into her mother's eyes, she could see the determination slowly creeping back in. If they were going to face this head-on, they had to do it together. Okay, Lily said, her voice finding strength. Let us talk then. Let us lay everything out on the table. No more secrets. The air shifted again, thickening with the promise of honesty. It felt like they were stepping onto a battlefield vulnerable yet fortified by the strength of their bonds, but as Mr. Jameson prepared to guide the conversation, Lily felt a dark cloud hovering over her thoughts. Would the truth set them free, or would it tear them apart? Moments later, she would have to confront the reality that there was much more at stake than just money. She could feel the pressure building, and with every word that followed in that kitchen, the stakes would skyrocket. Little did she know, the next screen of revelation awaited just at the edge of the truth, threatening to shake her understanding of her entire life. How deep did those secrets run? And what would she have to risk this time to uncover them? Lily's mind raced as the heaviness of the moment settled in. She glanced at her mother, whose eyes revealed a tumult of emotions: fear, regret, but also resilience. What if the truth isn't just about money? Lily whispered, more to herself than anyone else. Mr. Jameson's gaze shifted between them. That's precisely why honesty is vital. It's about acknowledging everything that got you here. Understanding will be the first step in reclaiming control. Control. Lily repeated, the word feeling foreign yet familiar. How had they lost it? How had things spiraled so far? To think that her parents were capable of facing something so serious made her stomach churn. Tell me everything, she urged, her voice gaining strength, steadying against the tide of panic. Why did this happen? What exactly did you do? She turned to her mother, awaiting the answers as though they could defuse the fear coursing through her veins. Her mother sighed, her eyes glistening with tears that threatened to spill over. We just wanted to give you and Denny a better life, she said, her voice trembling. We thought taking some risks would lead to bigger rewards. But we didn't understand the danger we were inviting. Risks? Like what? Lily pressed, a layer of fear cracking open to reveal deeper concerns. I borrowed against the house to start a business, her mother confessed, gaze dropping to the floor. Things were shaky almost from the beginning. I kept thinking I could turn it around. But the more we borrowed, the deeper we fell. I never wanted to drag you into this chaos. How could you not tell me? The words slipped out, dripping with hurt. I had a right to know. We're supposed to share these things as a family. Denny, still standing by the doorway, looked between them, confusion etched on his face. Are we in trouble? He asked, his small voice breaking the tension like a delicate bell. No, buddy, we'll be okay, Lily replied, forcing a smile despite the raw wound spreading in her chest. She knelt to his level and held his shoulders. We just need to figure things out. Together. The room fell silent as the gravity of honesty sank in, each person reflecting on the weight of past decisions. Mr. Jameson cleared his throat. This is the beginning. You've taken the first steps toward transparency. Now it's essential to prepare for the next. What does that mean? Lily ventured, her voice trembling with anticipation. It means confronting the people you owe. Opening up the channels of communication. It won't be easy, but you cannot hide. Hiding only invites more trouble. Lily processed his words, a mix of fear and determination swelling inside her. What did facing them look like? Her mother finally met her gaze, steadying her voice. Lily, I promise I will do everything I can to make this right. No more secrets, no more running. We'll confront whatever's coming. Her heart ached at the sight of her mother's resolve. They were stronger together, weren't they? But, as soon as that thought beckoned hope, doubt crept back in. What if the truth was still waiting to surface? What if confronting their past would expose even more darkness? Just then, a loud knock rattled the door, interrupting the moment. It was a jarring sound, filled with undefined urgency. Lily's breath caught in her throat. Her gaze met Mr. Jameson's, whose expression turned grave. "We need to be prepared," he warned, urgency rippling through his voice. "Who is it?" Lily asked, her heart racing once again. "It could be anyone," Mr. Jameson replied, tension taut in his frame. "Remember, this is now bigger than just debts. We're in this together, and it's time to face whatever comes." Lily's stomach twisted at the sound of the knock becoming more insistent. She had no idea what was beyond the door, but a feeling deep inside told her there was no going back. Dread and courage tangled within her, but one thing was certain: she had to find out what awaited them on the other side. As she stepped towards the door, each breath quickened, her heart thumping louder, ready for whatever truth lay waiting. What awaited her on the other side? Would this revelation lead them further down the rabbit hole, or was it finally the light they needed? Lily's hand hovered over the doorknob, a weight pressing down on her chest. The knocking thudded like a heartbeat in her ears, each bang stealing her breath. She glanced back at her mother, whose face had drained of color, yet there remained a flicker of defiance in her eyes. Mr. Jameson stood alert, assessing the door as though he might sense the intentions of whoever stood beyond it. "Are you ready?" he asked, his voice calm but firm. Lily swallowed hard. "Ready or not," she muttered, turning the knob with shaking fingers. The door creaked open to reveal a figure she didn't expect. There stood Mr. Taylor, the bank manager, a man whose presence filled the threshold like storm clouds gathering before a tempest. His expression was unreadable, but the gravity in his stance sent an instant chill down her spine. Behind him, the sunlight glared unsuccessfully, as if trying to cut through the darkening cloud of tension in the room. "Mr. Taylor," Lily managed, her voice barely a whisper. "Can we talk?" he said, his tone devoid of warmth. "In private." Lily's heart pounded fiercely. She felt all eyes on her, the weight of their expectations heavy as she nodded. She stepped outside, the door closing between her and the turmoil within. The cool air rushed against her face, providing a brief reprieve, but it felt frigid and unfamiliar. "Let us discuss your family's situation," Mr. Taylor said, glancing around like he was scanning for eavesdroppers. His voice was steady, but there was an unmistakable undercurrent of something darker lurking there. "I'm afraid the bank has decided to pursue aggressive methods regarding the overdue payments." Lily's stomach dropped. "Aggressive methods? You mean foreclosure?" He nodded, his expression unyielding. "We've been more than patient. But there comes a time for every institution to make difficult decisions." Desperation clawed at her throat. She thought of Denny, the house they lived in, the memories they'd built. "But my mother has a plan to pay back the debts. We can get everything sorted. Just give us some time." "I can't promise anything," he replied, his eyes narrowing as though calculating her plea. "The bank needs assurance, Miss Adams. Your mother's business is a risk we no longer want to take. Time is a luxury we cannot afford." Lily's breath trembled in her lungs. "And you threaten that?" "A threat, no." He frowned, tapping a finger against his wrist in a dismissive gesture. "A requirement." The reality of her family's fragile existence closed around her, squeezing her heart like a vice. Rage and sadness intertwined. This wasn't just a business transaction, it felt deeply personal. "You can't do this. My family deserves a chance." "Do you really believe that?" he retorted, intensity flickering in his gaze. "Look around you. Your family's choices have consequences, and those consequences are now knocking at your door. We can talk solutions, but you need to be honest, too." Every word he spoke felt like a blow, puncturing the fragile optimism she had clung to since that moment of honesty in the living room. What if there was no escape from this storm? I will speak to my mother. We will find a way, she replied, grabbing hold of a vestige of resolved Mr. Taylor's expression softened for just a fraction of a second. I hope for your sake you do, Miss Adams. As he stepped away, Lily watched him walk down the pathway, uncertainty swirling. What had she just learned? The weight of reality pressed upon her, and she turned back to the house, the familiar space suddenly feeling foreign and hostile. Inside awaited her mother and Denny, who were bound to ask what had happened, what their future might look like. Steeling herself, Lily pushed the door open. She knew facing her parents meant embracing not just their truth, but her own rising fear. What if their worst fears had just come to pass? Reuniting with them felt both like returning home and stepping into a battlefield. She took a deep breath, prepared for the confrontation ahead. But just as she opened her mouth to speak, her phone vibrated in her pocket. Glancing at the screen, she froze. A message from an unknown number lit up with alarming urgency. I know what you did. Meet me or face the consequences. Her heart raced, the implications crashing over her like a tidal wave. Who was this? What did they know? And how deep did this rabbit hole really go? Lily's mind whirled with possibilities, each one darker than the last as she struggled to keep her composure. Would she risk it all to find out? The moment the words on her phone screen settled in, Lily felt everything shift, a sickening pull in her gut, as if the ground had slipped away beneath her. She glanced anxiously toward her mother and brother. They were still huddled together in the living room, their eyes filled with questions, with fear mirroring her own. This message, it felt like a trap. The sender remained a mystery, but that didn't stop a million possibilities from flooding her mind. What if they knew too much? What if it was connected to the debts? What if it was someone from her mom's business dealings? She thumbed the message again. Meet me or face the consequences. Each word felt like a threat hanging in the air above her, a dark cloud threatening to burst. Lily? Her mother's voice broke through her haze, urgent and filled with worry. What is it? Lily took a breath, forcing herself to focus. It's nothing, she lied, her voice shaky. It's hard. Her mother stepped closer, worry etched across her face, but Lily couldn't meet her eyes. Instead, she stared at the floor, grounding herself against a tempest of emotions. She needed to figure out a path forward, both with the bank and with this message. Are we okay? Denny's small voice pulled her gaze up. He looked so lost and vulnerable, his big eyes searching for reassurance. His innocence tugged at Lily's heart. Her little brother didn't deserve this chaos. You said it would be okay. Lily's heart cracked just a bit more. She glanced at her mother, whose expression mirrored her son's plea. If she wanted anything to be okay, she had to take action. That thought was like fire igniting her insides. Let us talk, she said, forcing resolve into her tone. We need to figure out what our next steps are. They settled into the small dining room, which felt tighter than usual. The air was thick with unsaid fears, but Lily was determined to break the silence. Mr. Taylor, he is serious, she began, looking at each of them. They're coming for the house. They're talking foreclosure. No. Her mother gasped, her hands clenched tight together as if holding back an anchor of despair. I can't lose this place. Not after everything. I know. Lily interrupted, her voice rising unexpectedly. But we need a plan. How can we fight this? Mom, what is the status on your business? Her mother took a moment, looking defeated yet simultaneously fierce. I have a few clients who are late on payments, some are struggling. If I can get them to pay. Then do it, Lily urged, her desperation clawing at her throat. We need every dollar we can get. I can help. I don't know how, but I can help. A flicker of hope glimmered in her mother's eyes. You're right. I'll reach out to them. I didn't want to drag you into this, Lily. You already have, she replied, biting her lip. The reality of their situation pressed tightly around them. Each beat of silence felt like it could explode with the weight of their unspoken fears. Just as Lily opened her mouth to speak again, her phone vibrated in her pocket once more, cutting through the tension. This time, the bullet fired straight through her heart. As I said, we can't wait. If you don't meet me tonight, I will expose everything. The finality of those words bored into her mind. Expose? What did they know? Who were they? Suddenly, her earlier resolve felt as fragile as glass. She looked at her mother and Denny, torn between the pull of loyalty to her family and the dark urgency of the threat hovering over her. Lily, what is it? Her mother asked, eyes alarmed. With a shaky breath, Lily knew this was a moment. A choice. She was standing at the edge of a decision, one that could change everything. I have to go, she whispered, her heart racing at the thought of facing the unknown. Go where? Denny asked, confusion crossing his young features. I don't know, Lily admitted. But if I don't find out who sent this, we could lose everything. Determined to uncover the truth, Lily grabbed her coat, her thoughts racing like a whirlwind. Would this put her family at risk, or could it hold the key to saving them? She didn't know if she was walking into danger or destiny, but either way, the choice was made. As she stepped out into the fading light of day, leaving her family behind, the message clamped around her heart like a steel vice. What awaited her tonight could change the course of everything, and she couldn't turn back now. What was hidden in the shadows, waiting to unravel? Lily's heart pounded in her chest as she approached the dim alley where she was supposed to meet the mysterious messenger. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows that danced around her. Her breath came fast, mixing fear with determination. She had no idea what awaited her, but she knew she had to confront whatever this was, for her parents, for Denny, for herself. Stepping into the alley, she felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her. Would it be a confrontation? A revelation? Each step felt like a leap into the unknown. Lily. A voice called from the shadows. She froze, eyes adjusting to the dark. A figure emerged, cloaked in a long coat. It was Mark, a classmate who had fallen off her radar since the fire. You received my message, he stated, calm yet urgent. What do you want? She demanded, trying to keep her voice steady. That he stepped closer, and as he did, a glimmer of something metallic shone in his hand. I know about your family's situation, he said cautiously, and it's not just pressure from the bank. The flicker of fear she had been holding back surged in her chest. What do you mean? Her heart raced. Your parents made some deals that might have attracted unsavory characters. People who may not take kindly to being ignored, he explained, his tone dropping. Lily felt a chill creep down her spine. What kind of deals? In that moment, she realized how deeply tangled the web of her family's past truly was. He hesitated, glancing around as if the shadows themselves might eavesdrop. They thought they were securing your future, but they only dug deeper into a hole. Your dad borrowed money from someone dangerous. And now they want it back, with interest, he whispered. The pieces began to fit together in Lily's mind like a jigsaw puzzle she never asked to solve. The depths of her parents' secrets crashed over her, financial instability intertwined with potential threats. I need proof. If I'm going to confront them, I need something solid. She pushed, desperation creeping into her voice. Mark produced a folded document from his pocket. This was tucked away during the fire. It was meant to remain hidden. The trembling paper whispered secrets of its own as he handed it over. Taking it, Lily unfolded it, her eyes scanning the figures and scribbled notes. It was a loan agreement, but not just any loan. The names dropped like lead weights in her stomach, names associated with intimidation, threats, and worse. This is all I need, she breathed, feeling the fury ignite inside her. I can't let them hide anymore. Just then, the tranquility of the night shattered with the scuffle of footsteps approaching. Lily, we need to go right now, Mark urged, his voice brisk with urgency. But she stood rooted to the spot. I can't back down now, she insisted, heart racing. The footsteps grew closer, voices erupting into laughter until Lily recognized the familiar banter. Mr. Jameson strode into view. Relief washed over her just as dread intertwined with it. Lily. There you are. I've been looking everywhere. Mark stepped back as a tense flicker fell across Mr. Jameson's face. What are you doing out here? He asked, concern evident. It's not safe. Mark broke in, his eyes darting nervously. You need to tell them the truth now, before it's too late. Now it was Lily's turn to defend her ground. I'm ready to face what awaits me. I know everything about the debts and the people connected to them. I can't keep pretending, she declared, feeling powerful for the first time in a long while. Mr. Jameson's serious expression softened, a hint of pride breaking through. Then let us go back inside as a family, together. No more secrets. As they walked back toward the Johnson house, Lily felt the warmth of hope returning. Maybe this wasn't just about survival, maybe it was about reclaiming their lives. Inside, her mother and Denny were waiting. The tension hung thick in the air. Lily, where were you? Her mother asked, worry twisting her features. I found out what we're facing, Lily said, her voice firm. No more hiding. Together, we need to confront this. Denny nodded, his innocent eyes shining with faith. We can do it. As they all gathered around the kitchen table, Lily placed the document down before them, the truth laid bare. She met her mother's eyes, a silent understanding passing between them. It's time, she declared. Time to lay everything out, to fight for the Johnson house and for us. No more secrets. The resolve in her voice ignited a fire within the room. They were standing on the precipice of change, united in truth and purpose. As dawn's light began to filter through the window, washing over them all as a symbol of rebirth, Lily knew they were ready. This was their moment. They would face whatever storm lay ahead, together. No bonds could shatter their unity now. And with that resounding sense of belonging, Lily felt her heart swell with a feeling she had almost lost, hope. This was just the beginning of their journey to redemption. Now that you've reached the powerful conclusion of this story, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. We truly appreciate it. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this emotional ending. We want to hear from you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this extraordinary transformation. Real fans know how important it is to keep the community growing.